lucky enough to have discovered this talent at a young age. And I think Luke certainly falls under that category. Some of us, it takes a while longer to realize, to figure out what we're good at. And that's fine too. And I think I fall under that category. When I was about a little bit older than Luke, probably 13 or 14 years old, I started writing a fantasy book of my own. And you know how many pages I got into before I quit? 2 pages. And then I quit. I couldn't sustain that. Luke wrote 200 pages. And to me, that's passion realized through perseverance. And I'm really most proud of that aspect of this. Luke was always a very creative kid. Even when he was real young, he used to ask us to draw like a squiggly line on a piece of paper, and he would turn that squiggle into this beautiful piece of artwork. That was one of the creative things he did when he was a child. He probably doesn't want me to say this, but one of the things he used to do is he would sing himself to sleep. And he would sort of, he would sort of sing a song, and we'd be listening at the door, and he'd be making up this rhyming song on the fly while he was trying to get to sleep. I thought he was going to become a rapper, frankly. So he always had this creativity, but his creativity really took off when he started reading. And to me, that's the key to all of this. I visit a lot of elementary schools as a guest author, and I always tell the kids, the most important thing you can do if you want to become a good writer is be a good reader. And by that I mean don't read well, I mean read often. Read lots and lots of books. And what I tell them is you don't realize that it's happening to you, but the more you read, the more you read well-written books, the more you understand how to write well. It creeps into your brain, it never really goes away, you understand things that you're not even realizing that you're understanding. And that's what happens. That's what happened to Luke. I honestly think that Luke has read more books in his life than I have. And I'm a pretty good reader, but Luke has read hundreds of books. And I think a lot of the kids here have too. That's another great thing about growing up in today's world. Reading is a much bigger part of it, and I think that's fantastic. There are several reasons why I think Luke reads a lot, and I just want to detail a few of them. One of them is his innate intellectual curiosity. He's curious about the world. His imagination is off the charts. And books are a way to sort of satisfy that hunger for intellectual stimulation. Another big reason, I think, is his teachers, many of whom are here today. And, you know, in the 6 years that we've been associated with Robert Down Elementary School, our kids have never had a teacher that we didn't think was fantastic. And that's, you can't I credit my 4th grade teacher with inspiring my love of reading and writing, and that fourth grade teacher of mine many years ago just ordered one of Luke's books online. And I credit his teachers in the last 5-6 years with inspiring this book as well. The third big reason that I think reading is such a big part of Luke's life is the place that we're in right now, the library. It's free books. If the PG library didn't exist, we might still be holding a book event for Luke. But we'd have to charge about $80 a book to pay for all the money we spent on books from Borders and Barnes & Noble throughout the years. When he was able to get free books, that's why he's read scores of books over the years. And you can't put a price on that. This building is vital to the community, and I know many kids here have donated their talents and their time to that notion as well. And I think Dragon Valley is a manifestation of the role that a library plays in the community. We are thrilled that Luke, who doesn't get an allowance, has decided to donate half of the proceeds from tonight's event right back to the library. And we're happy that the library has received some publicity in the past few days, if only to convince the other 40% of PG voters. Don't get me started. By reading so many books, mostly fantasy novels, Luke learned how to write from some of the best writers in the world. And he understands things that many writers don't comprehend until well into adulthood. Foreshadowing and character development and the rhythm of sentences and metaphors and showing instead of telling and entering a scene at a dramatic moment. All these things are very adult notions, and Luke really gets it. So if you do get a chance to read Dragon Valley, I urge you to look for these things. And I just want to offer one small example of that. So I can point it out to you. There's a scene where Luke starts a little section of the book with a couple of dragons landing, swooping down from the sky and landing on the ground. Most of us would just sort of say, You know, something to the effect of 2 dragons landed with a thud, right? And that's how he would write it. This is how Luke wrote it. A hummingbird flew by a stunted tree alongside a creek bed in the early morning light when suddenly 2 dragons, one green, one red, attracted its attention. It quickly zipped off deeper into the great forest. The 2 dragons flew low, touching the muddy floor of the creek bed. That's pretty good, right? To me, that's someone who understands writing, and I'm very proud of that. So when Luke started reading the book to us, section by section over the course of 17 months, Amy and I would just sit there with our mouths agape thinking, where did this kid come from? And I'm not quite sure of the answer to that, but here he is. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the man of the hour, Luke Herzog. Luke is just going to read a couple of quick passages from the book, is what we thought we would do, and then take any questions that you might have, and then we'll sign. Well, you can buy and purchase, and he'll sign some more books at the end, and there's refreshments at the end too. All right, so Luke is going to tell you a little bit about it.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. My book is called Dragon Valley, if you don't already know. And instead of explaining it to you, the easy way of doing it, sorry, I did that the wrong way around. Instead of explaining it to you the hard way, I'm going to read it from the back. In the year of 2043, a renowned inventor unveils his master creation, 5 scientifically spawned baby dragons. He leads them to a home, schools them in survival skills, and hints at the magic that surrounds them. But can any creator retain total control over his creation? Dragon Valley is an epic tale covering 1,000 years in the evolution of the dragons and their magical valley. So that's the back. And the first part I'm going to be reading from my book is, well, my book is separated into 4 ages of the evolution of these dragons. And anyway, I'll just re-say that. This book is separated into 4 ages, the evolution of these dragons. And the first thing we read is from the second age. So they already kind of evolved a little bit. They've had offspring, battles, maybe even some romance. And it starts out with 5 dragons, and they're each named after their color. There's red, yellow, blue, white, and black. And so I guess I'll read the part now. As Frogleaf entered the Sun Woods through gates that Purple had forged from pure gold found near her territory, he was astounded. When he saw the banner woven with blades of grass by Grun the Snake, friend of legendary Nyx the Raccoon, he was flabbergasted. It was quite an honor to be there. After he passed the banner, all he could hear was the low beating of hard stone drums. Bum, thud, dum, bum, thud, dum, bum, thud, dum. The drumming soon got faster. Bum, thud, dum, bum, thud, dum. Frogleaf felt a shiver run down his spine. Bum, thud, dum, bum, thud. When the drumming stopped, Frogleaf's heart almost stopped with it. The meeting would begin any moment. And then they arose, yellow with her maple leaf crown, red with her flowing flame-colored robe, blue with his shoulder scar, white with his snowflake amulet, purple with a sparkling silver ring on one of her claws, green with her dandelion chain bracelet, and someone unexpected. At first, Frogleaf just thought it was an insect, and as it turned out, he was right. The little insect flew toward the dragons and landed on the tip of Blue's nose. As he often did, Blue made a joke of it, pretending to talk to the insect. "Do you mind? We're trying to conduct a meeting here." He turned to face white. "Is there something on my nose?" Then, to Blue's surprise, the insect answered, "Sorry, is there something on my feet?" Everyone gasped. Then White asked, "You're a talking bug? What do you want, a shouting bug, a growling bug, a whispering bug? Make up your mind." "Who are you?" asked Blue, looking down at the insect on his nose. The insect saluted. "I am Prince Argvas Gwamba, son of King Luthane Twy Gwamba the 31st. "What we mean," explained Yellow, "is, what are you?" "I am from a royal race of dragonflies. We have just fought a horrific battle against our enemies, the evil fireflies." "Why are you here?" asked Frogleaf. He was surprised at himself for jumping into the conversation. Prince Argvas bowed his head. Now we've come to the sad part. Almost all of our best soldiers have perished in the war against the fireflies. And well, our glorious kingdom will fall unless we get help immediately. Then Red asked, "How can you even fight? You have no claws, no teeth." Before Red could finish her sentence, Argvax pulled out a tiny glowing gold sword and said, "No one insults my fighting ability." Seeing the sword, Red hesitated before talking again. "What will you do for us?" Before Argvax could speak, they heard a horn blow from somewhere far away. "I must go," said Argvax. "I will speak with you about the subject in the coming days." Prince Argvax fluttered toward his distant kingdom. So that's that part. Now, this is in the Third Age, an age later, and a lot has happened between those two ages. There was many more offspring, a few maybe more battles, and maybe a little bit more romance again. But I guess I'll read this part now. At that moment, games and trade. Oh, sorry. There's one more thing I have to mention. During this age, the dragons developed this tournament called the Tournament of Kings, and this is a part explaining the Tournament of Kings. At that moment, games and trading posts were opening. The Tournament of Kings wasn't just a competition. It was a massive market and carnival. "I have a friend in the Purple Tribe," said White Lizard. "He should have a store here, and he can help us find the purple dray we're looking for. He usually sets his shop up towards the west side of the Sun Woods." They followed a narrow dirt path, passing many things. Blue and a group of blue dragons were having a prey-eating contest. There were fish bones scattered everywhere. The group also passed a jewelry store, a teeth sharpener, and one of the tournaments. The Tournament of Kings was complicated, but Treepalm had slowly learned how it worked from one of the older members of the Green Tribe. There were several competitions, and the victors were chosen by judges called the Shazar. There was one Shazar for each tournament, and that judge specialized in each event. But there was also a head Shazar, who served as a judge for every tournament. Frogleaf was the head Shazar. 10 different dragons participated in the Tournament of Kings every year, each competing in all of the events. At each event, the Shazar picked the 5 worst competitors, and the head Shazar chose the 5 best. The dragon who did the worst received 1 point. The top dragon earned 10 points. The dragon with the most points at the end of the tournaments was named Dragon King for the year and was rewarded with an enormous pile of prey. The first event that Treepalm and his friends witnessed was the battle tournament. There were 2 large pedestals, one for the battle Shazar and one for the head Shazar. "Frogleaf," thought Treepalm. He hadn't seen his mentor for quite a while. "That stump," said Beasting, pointing at the battle Shazar, a scrawny yellow draw. "He's my cousin. Kind of an awkward little fellow." Dragons of various colors watched the event, even a few young Dracos alongside their parents. The battle tournament was one of the most challenging events. There was a large board that listed the names of the 10 participating dragons: Honeytree, Frost Beetle, Stormblaze, Mormus, Street Egg, Huge Flint, Firestopper, Snow Eye, Spalgrim, and Rage. That's the end of that part. And Rage is a very important character in the Third Age. I won't spoil too much about him, but he's a very, very important character. Does anybody have